Raiders as we continue our travels around the NFL preseason camps.
Coming up, ball. Play action. Dig. Double left. 26.
Last season, the Raiders scored fewer points per game than they ever had since Al Davis began calling the shots 30 years ago. And last season, no team in the league had a more dismal giveaway-takeaway ratio than the Raiders. So Davis spent $7.5 million on free agent quarterback Jeff Hostetler, who throws interceptions less than 2% of the time, who's directed a low-risk offense which looks nothing like the dizzying vertical passing game favored by the Raiders. And one thing seems perfectly clear. The Raiders won't be the ones doing most of the adjusting.
Well, we haven't changed our basic approach to the game at all. We believe that you need to get the ball up the field to talented people in order to put pressure on the defense and put fear in people.
The slowest guy here is probably still faster than the fastest that we had in New York. So, you know, things happen a little quicker. You know, the ball's got to get thrown downfield a little further.
The first game, he realized that they do want to get the ball up the field. You know, 10 yards, that's not good enough around here. Let's get 18 or 20 or 25. So, I think that's one of the things we really got to get away from as far as trying to get 20 yards on every play.
Hostetler represents an about face for the Raiders, who've always valued a big arm more than quick feet.
I've seen dramatic changes. Number one, Jeff, from what I've seen, he doesn't throw interceptions. Number two, if the receiver isn't open, he's going to run the ball.
When Hostetler does pull it down, he averages more than 5 yards a carry. Still, Dan Reeves decided he was not the man to lead the Giants into the future.
I think that's a big distortion. You know, if you want to go back and look at how many wins we had in New York and the past couple years and who had the majority of them. I had all of them but two. So, you know, what do you have to say about that?
So how did the Raiders wind up with a quarterback who finished second best to soon-to-be 38-year-old Phil Simms of the Giants? Well, they did have their eyes on Boomer Esiason, but the Jets closed the deal first. And when they looked at the free agent quarterbacks, they found Hostetler had more arm strength than Bobby Hebert, a better feel for the game than Jim Harbaugh, and leadership qualities that were sadly lacking in last year's starter, Jay Schrader.
Quite frankly, the things that got our attention on Jeff Hostetler are the fact that he doesn't have a lot of mileage on him, the fact that his touchdown-interception ratio is outstanding.
Number one, he's a leader. Number two, he's been to the Super Bowl.
They like his leadership. He's in the weight room with the guys. He throws around the weights. He runs. He gets into some of the contests with them in the lifting. He's not afraid to mix it up.
Hostetler will never be confused with Raider legends Stabler and LaMonica, but he's better than anyone they've had lately.
He is not going to make or break this team. You know, I think the one thing that the team and the coaches and everybody who cares anything about the Raiders will ask of Jeff is just don't lose the game.
Just don't lose, baby? Somehow it doesn't quite have that same brash ring to it. With the Raiders in Oxnard, I'm Mark Schwartz, ESPN.
Meanwhile, Art Shell and his Raiders have scored 19 points through the first two preseason games. The NFL tonight with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson coming up in just a few minutes, and then it's game time at the top of the hour. Around the rest of the
This is Texas Stadium, where we have a sellout crowd of more than 65,000 to see their Super Bowl champion Cowboys play host to the Los Angeles Raiders in a preseason special. When Jimmy Johnson took reign of the Cowboys, he did so with one thing in mind: win the NFL championship. Assembling a team of power and speed, the Cowboys grabbed the ring in 4 short years. But sporting the colors of a Super Bowl champion is a difficult task, and Dallas is feeling the strain. Training camp injuries to key players, a clash of egos between the owner and coach, and the unknown return of Emmitt Smith. The Cowboys are wearing the bullseye. They are now the hunted.
The one thing that I've talked to the players about was that I'm going to be more demanding. I'm going to make sure that they do the work. I'm not going to cut the, quote, superstars any slack. We're going to do the same things this year that we did in previous years getting to this point.
Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Joe Theismann. It's great to have you with us. There have been some tremendous times in the history of this franchise. Last year, of course, had to be one of the best, winning the Super Bowl with a team record 13 wins. Joe, you've been part of a championship. You know everything has to come together to win it all. Then if you have a chance to repeat, you have to have the same good fortune again. But already in training camp this year, the quarterback has had surgery. They've had key injuries, and Emmitt Smith is holding out.
Well, Mike, there are certain things Jimmy can't control, and he can't control holdouts. He can't control injuries. But there are some things that he has controlled. He's controlled the physical nature of this training camp. It has been the toughest under his reign for his ball club. He also hasn't allowed any of his veterans to get real comfortable in their positions. He has made it very plain and clear that at least 6 rookies are going to make this ball club.
It is more and more likely that Emmitt Smith is not going to be here for the start of the season. The good news for the Cowboys is Troy Aikman, after the surgery, should be ready to go against Washington.
Well, I watched Troy work, and he really looks great. But if there's a silver cloud in this, a silver lining in this cloud for Troy, it's the fact that their backup quarterback, Hugh Millen, now gets a chance to get some work. He didn't look very good in the first preseason game. He looked better in the second. He'll get 3 quarters of work tonight, and it's very, very important that the Cowboys understand that you can't win in this league unless you got 2 quality quarterbacks.
The Raiders have missed the playoffs 5 of the last 7 years. Not the kind of tradition that Art Shell helped to build as a player. Their problem is quarterback, and they think they've solved it getting Jeff Hostetler from the Giants. But he played in a very conservative system there, and that's not the Raider way.
But it is a system that taught him not only the value, and not only value, but taught him how to protect the football. Now, here's a guy who brings a very interesting combination of factors to the Raiders. Number 1, he's extremely good at not throwing interceptions. Number 2, he's extremely mobile. And number 3, he's physically and mentally tough. Now, the second one, the mobility part, is going to be on show tonight, simply because he goes up against the #1 defense in the National Football League.
Art Shell, one of the great names in Raider history, he enters his 5th year as a head coach, 1-1 in this preseason. Jimmy Johnson also in his 5th year, the only coach to win a Super Bowl and a collegiate national championship. He is 0-1-1 in preseason. Only one word for the weather here in Texas. It is hot. 93 degrees. Last 3 days it's been over 100. The humidity 41%. No chance of rain, but it is going to stay hot. You wouldn't expect that to affect a preseason game that much because they'll play so many guys. The Raiders have won the toss, and they will receive. Gaston Green and Alexander Wright are deep for Lynn Elliott's kick. Gaston Green from the 1-yard line has a hole, and Green uses his speed to cross the 30 to about the 35. Jeff Hostetler is the Raiders' new quarterback. An excellent scrambler. His strength is avoiding the turnover, something the Raiders need. No more running back controversy here. The job belongs to Nick Bell, who will try to show he's a full-time player. Steve Wisniewski, one of the league's best guards, with superb skills and an attitude. He's been to the Pro Bowl 3 of his 4 pro years.
There's Tom Walsh, the offensive coordinator, standing far left in that booth with the headset on.
And Nick Bell will get the first carry of the game. Has some running room and pounds it up near the 40. Take a look at the Dallas defense. Charles Haley was only 3rd in sacks for the Cowboys last year, but his presence drew a crowd and opened lanes for everyone else. Ken Norton, the star of the defense, after a brilliant postseason in '92. His speed takes him from sideline to sideline. And Kevin Smith, last year's top draft choice, has a combination of quickness and speed, making him the best cover man in the secondary.
And on the far right, sitting down, is Butch Davis, the new defensive coordinator and linebacker coach.
2nd and 3, and it's the 240-pound running back again. Nick Bell appears to have the first down. For the first time since we have been doing Raider games together, they seem to be set on running backs.
They really do. They don't have the egos and the superstars in depth in the backfield position. Nick Bell's going to be their power back. Steve Smith's going to be their blocking fullback. Gaston Green is going to be the change of pace speed guy, and possibly Tyrone Montgomery will be the 3rd down back. Everybody has a designated role now.
Well, you've said for years there's only one ball Hostetler to throw for the first time. Short set, floats it sideline, complete. Out of bounds at midfield. And Alexander Wright made the catch in front of Thomas Everett, and there's a Raider down.
Jeff Hostetler was brought in a lot because of his ability to move, but here he has the ability also to set in the pocket. A good solid set. Good line blocking. He makes the delivery. Now this is what speed does. Speed gets you distance and space from the defensive back, and even if the ball isn't thrown crisply and hard, you still have a chance to make a play on it.
Greg Skrepenak is the injured player out of Michigan. He was starting at left tackle tonight because Gerald Perry is out with an injury. We will check on his condition when we come back to Big D. We are just underway here in Dallas, and already bad news for the Los Angeles Raiders. Greg Skrepenak is down, and he hasn't really moved much since the injury, and they're bringing out the cart for him.
As you watch this replay, look at the lower right-hand side. Charles Haley is going to push him back. But what's going to happen is Skrepenak is going to get pushed right onto Hostetler's ankle. Right down there. See it right down there? He wound up on Hostetler's foot, and he twisted his left ankle from the looks of it, and he just gets knocked off balance back into Haas.
As we mentioned, he was starting tonight because Gerald Perry has a torn triceps muscle. He's the starting left tackle they picked up as an unrestricted free agent from the Rams, and now Rich Stevens, free agent out of Tulsa, will have to come in Skrepenak's place.
There it is. During the timeout, Art shall spend a little time with Rich Stevens explaining to him exactly what's got to happen. The offensive line coach Mike White there with the headset on. Now he's saying, listen, I want you to protect Jeff at all cost. Understand that? Yes, sir.
And now, as a quarterback, you know that you have your blind side being protected by the third string left tackle.
Yeah, but you're still in preseason. So, I mean, it's funny. You know, don't laugh. I mean, I know you're laughing. The thing is...
Does that make it hurt less when you get hit from behind?
Your mindset has you... for some reason, you go out and you play hard, but it's not like a regular season game. And, you know, you can make the slide and make the adjustment. I think in the Raiders' case, if you have a problem in the offensive line, Hostetler's ability to move around takes away the severity of the problem.
And you have to go back a long way in Raider history to find a real mobile quarterback, all the way back to Kenny Stabler.
Young Kenny Stabler. You know, it's interesting when they talk about
the war in New York to be the starting quarterback. That job went to Phil Simms, and he was delighted to come to Los Angeles. 2nd and 4 as we return to action in midfield. And Haley lines up against Stevens. Smith will get a rare carry and has running room down to the Dallas 42-yard line. Smith had only 44 carries last year. That was a career low. We talked in the open about Hostetler playing in a conservative system, and that's certainly not the way that Al Davis has done it over the years. Who adjusts? Does Al Davis adjust? I say that laughing, or does Hostetler?
No, I don't think there's that big an adjustment that's going to take place. I think Jeff Hostetler will fit in very well into this system.
1st and 10 Raiders on their opening possession. Smith again. Looked like a trap play inside down around the 40-yard line. Here's the one thing about Al Davis. He tried to adjust once. That's when he brought Mike Shanahan in here as the head coach with his control passing game. That didn't work.
That was a system change. This is not. Like I said, things that Jeff does are in the game plan, so they're not going to have to worry about it. This is what I want you to see. Look at the under 40. 49 passes under there. And now you're only 2 over 40. That's the thing that's a big difference. I think he can throw the ball down the field. Remember, they didn't have an offense in New York that asked him to do that.
They've got 7 receivers on this team, faster than anybody that was on the Giants. Hostetler sets in the pocket, dumps it for Smith. Smith taken out of bounds by Vincent Smith. Steve Smith has certainly become a fine receiver out of the backfield.
This always helps a quarterback out. You talk about Rich Stevens coming in and playing. Watch him right there. Watch him set and do an excellent job as the pass rusher comes up. Here comes Haley. Watch this. He's going to take him right around the cup. He's out of the play now. He stays with him, gives Haas a chance to unload the football.
James Lofton and Tyrone Montgomery check in as wide receivers as Stevens will try to control Haley again on 3rd and 4. Good protection for Hostetler. And throws incomplete, intended for right. He was covered very well by Larry Brown.
You know something? You may find this next statement hard to believe. There is a point when you have too much time to throw the football also. I think that was the case there. Everybody has a little clock in their heads. The quarterback, the linemen, the receivers, the defensive backs. That time Jeff had such good protection and so much time that the receivers were open for a split second, then got covered.
Gossett will hold for Jaeger. He will try a 53-yard field goal. His first action of the preseason, he'd been out with a strained left calf. And he boomed it, but wide. So the Raiders' opening drive comes up empty. We're 0-0 first quarter. Pretty close. He could have played tonight. In fact, he wanted to play tonight to see some action, but Jimmy Johnson is giving it just that little extra bit of caution. He does not want to take a chance on getting him hurt.
Jimmy told me something on the field before the game. It was really funny. He walked up to Troy and he said, Troy, I'm going to start you next week against the Houston Oilers. He got so excited. He said, here's a guy getting excited about starting a preseason game, and he's MVP of the Super Bowl. That's how bad he wants to play.
He's got a great attitude. And they'll go on the ground with the opening play with Derek Lassick, the rookie. Take a look at that Cowboy offense right now. Hugh Millen starts at quarterback, of course, until Aikman is ready to go. He's the veteran back, the agile player for such a big man.
Norv Turner, the excellent assistant head coach and offensive coordinator.
Lassick again. Picks up about 3 more. The Raider defense has Greg Townsend at end. He has 100 sacks for his career, the highest total of any active player in the AFC. The Raiders need help at linebacker to complement Winston Moss. He's an every-down player with great instincts for the game. In the secondary, Terry McDaniel heads the group. He led the club in interceptions last year, was named to his first Pro Bowl.
And the man on the other side of the field, Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator and linebacker coach for the Raiders.
Defense was not the Raiders' problem last year. It had been for the last couple. They played very well on that side of the ball. Lassick dodges the first man and may have a first down across the 45. There is a golden opportunity for Cowboy running backs here, with Emmitt Smith holding out, and Hugh Millen has made the most of his opportunity as a backup quarterback.
He really has, and the thing that Hugh really needs to do is he needs to get some playing time so that he can get on the field and get involved in time management, 2-minute drills, knowing where you are on the field. Those are all things that Jimmy wants him to get and that he lacked from an experience standpoint.
1st and 10, Cowboys. They're on 46. Millen dumps it over the middle, off the fingertips of Alvin Harper. Winston Moss was there in coverage.
Alvin Harper is playing this game with a hip pointer. Now, what that is a slight tear of the muscle away from the hip. And I have to tell you, folks, it's the most painful injury that I've ever had outside of a broken leg. And he'll probably play a little bit, but he is nursing that hip. I think if he was healthy, he'd have gone down on it and made the catch.
He has a flair for the spectacular, does Alvin Harper. A great compliment to Irvin on the other side. Agee in the backfield with Lassick now. Lassick on the delay to midfield. And Joe Kelly, the unrestricted free agent from the Jets, who's playing middle linebacker, made the tackle. With Emmitt Smith holding out, there's Michael Beasley coming in. He was on the practice squad a year ago. Lassick is a rookie out of Alabama, and neither one of these guys has been able to step up and give Jimmy Johnson that feeling that they could be the every down player.
Well, I think in Lassick's case, he's a rookie, and he's really still trying to learn the system, and you're just not going to see, you see a flash of greatness, but that's about it.
4-man rush. Millen hit just as he throws, and Irvin got a hand on it but couldn't bring it down. Lionel Washington Number 48 was right with him.
Raiders have always had great corners. Lionel Washington, Terry McDaniel. There they go, a little bump and run, which is a trademark of the Raiders. See how he watches the receiver? Then when the receiver looks back, he looks for the ball. Great one-on-one coverage. Good move by Mike.
John Jett, who could win the punting job on this club tonight if he does well, will kick to Tim Brown, who's waiting at the 10-yard line. Jett in a battle with Steve Domingos. And it's his job to win at this point. Beautiful spiraling kick that time. And Brown let it go. It bounced on the end line and goes out of bounds. A punt of 50 yards for John Jett. 0-0 first quarter. Back in a moment. We'll have the football for the second time in a scoreless first quarter from Dallas, Texas. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann, our entire ESPN crew. Glad you could join us on a Saturday night. And the Dallas offense talking it over. Hugh Millen just missed Irvin on that third down pass. Steve Smith getting quite a workout tonight. Picks up about 4.
Like every coach, Art Shell has his agenda. And as we look into the briefcase, we see the first thing you want to do is create a winning attitude. They've never emphasized winning in preseason, but they're doing it this year. Obviously, consistency as quarterback was what they want. They have that with Hostetler, and improve the turnover ratio. It was absolutely miserable. Dead last in the National Football League last year. Only 19 takeaways, 38 turnovers, minus 19 differential. That won't get you a lot of wins.
Smith already 3 carries, 15 yards, and now Nick Bell on the toss. He is a load up to about the 29-yard line. Why the change in emphasis to wanting to win in the preseason?
Because they have it. The Raiders previous to this year have always been a veteran team that has won. Coming into this particular year, Art Shell said he's got to get that winning attitude back. And this is a game, so it qualifies as a win to teach you how to win. So that's why the emphasis is starting in preseason, whereas in previous years, it really hadn't been there for the Raiders.
Third down and a yard from their own 29 for the Raiders. Quarterback keeper and Hostetler crosses the 30 for the first down.
You got a 240-pound fullback, a 250-pound halfback, and a 200-pound quarterback, and he picks it up.
I know that was always your favorite play.
Yeah, deceptive. That's what it was.
Smith already 3 carries for 15 yards. There's the big man, Nick Bell, runs a 4.5 40 at 250 pounds. The other thing that Art Shell has stressed this year is that he wants leaders, not troublemakers on this team. And you would never have thought of the Raiders as being a group of troublemakers, but they thought they had a few last year. Bell. Kenny Norton right there and makes the stop. Norton has become an exceptional outside linebacker.
He is their best linebacker, I think. He plays the weak side. He's the guy that has to make plays. You'll see him come up and make the play here. He follows the ball very well. Right there, number 51. He's going to come out. It's going to be him and Nick Bell in space, one-on-one. This is the toughest thing that a linebacker has to face. A back one-on-one. The back knows where he wants to go. The defensive guy has to stop.
2nd and 9. Hostetler throws as he falls down too high for Brown. And Kevin Smith was right there on defense. Pocket collapsed on him that time.
Yeah, you know what's amazing, though, is Charles Haley. He only had 6 sacks last year. Everybody says, oh, Charles didn't have a great year. Had 6 sacks, but he had 42 quarterback pressures. This is a quarterback pressure. You get close enough to let the quarterback know you're there, that's pressure. And believe me, we feel them.
Get those happy feet.
That sixth sense says, get out of the way, get out of the way.
That's the sixth sense that allows you to keep your other 5 senses. And Hostetler wants to call time. He had Tyrone Montgomery in the backfield and couldn't get him a line. Still 0-0. First quarter back in play, and there must be something about the last year of a decade. In 1969, Chuck Noll's first year as head coach of the Steelers, they were 1-13, worst in the league. 5 years later, Noll won his first of 4 Super Bowls. In 1979, Bill Walsh, the head coach of the 49ers, 2-14. 2 years later, they were 13-3. Walsh won the first of his 3 Super Bowls. And in '89, Jimmy Johnson came on and had a league worst 1-15 record. 3 years later, 13-3, he won his first Super Bowl. And in that short span of time, he has certainly achieved the respect of all his peers in the NFL. 3rd and 9 for the Raiders. Pressure on Hostetler again, dumps it short, and they won't get the first down as Alexander Wright was wrapped up by Chris Hall. There's a flag down on the play. We'll check it for you. And one of the Cowboys is also hurt. That's Clayton Holmes, backup corner. They have already lost Darren Woodson, who was going to be the starting strong safety, and Kenneth Gant, a backup safety. And that's the one thing the Cowboys were last year. They were injury-free.
People ask quite often.
Defense, number 26, 5 yards, automatic first down.
That's the hold on Kevin Smith, so the Raiders will keep the football, but right now the concern is Clayton Holmes.
People quite often ask, what's the key to repeating as a champion? That is the _1 most important factor, and it's got to be the biggest concern of Jimmy Johnson, and especially with the new rule change. See, because now you have to take into consideration
Jim Jeffcoat, who has now become a situational player and led the club with 10.5 sacks last year. Hostetler again feeling some pressure, throws for Bell, juggled it. Did he catch it? Yes, midfield. Nice catch by Nick Bell out of the backfield, a gain of 13.
Excellent job by Jeff Hostetler also. He really wants to go down the field deep with this one, but he makes the adjustment. Watch his head. He makes the play action fake. Look at him. He's focusing. He's looking down the field. He wants to go down. Now he knows exactly where Bell is, even under pressure. Manages to put it out. He really fooled Ken Norton. Ken Norton did not expect him to throw the ball there.
First down Raiders at midfield. Didn't look like he had 2 feet inbounds after the juggle. Smith breaks a couple of tackles down near the 41-yard line. There's another flag down.
Number 35, Steve Smith. Cowboys.
This has been a concern for Coach Shell, is penalties.
Holding, offense, number 72, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
And that's the veteran Don Mosbar, the center.
In their first preseason game, Mike, the Raiders were basically turnover and penalty free. In the second one, they committed a lot of turnovers and a lot of penalties. That's a concern because that's usually mental stuff. That's why the coach has that look on his face.
1st and 20 now. Movement up front, a flag is down, and Hostetler besieged in the pocket and taken out by Chad Hennings, the former Outland Trophy winner at the Air Force.
There's a veteran quarterback. Jeff Hostetler, he knows it's 1st and 20. What he wants to do is get a cheap 5. He comes up, he uses the hard count. Cowboys jump offside. Now he's got 1st and 15.
Offside. Defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
And how often in the past have you seen Raider quarterbacks in that exact same situation just throw the ball up for grabs downfield?
Quite. Quite.
One of the reasons they got Hostetler, they said the prime reason, in fact, he has won a Super Bowl, and that's what they want him to do here.
Into the big show.
1st and 15 now with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. We're still scoreless. Hostetler with the delay to Bell, trying to dance out of trouble. No way. Chad Hennings is again in on the stop along with Ken Norton.
Chad Hennings played defensive end last year because it was his first year out of the academy and out of the service. He really wasn't as big as he should have been. He's put on a lot of weight. He actually went up to like 290. Now he's back down to 275. You'll see him number 95. See him to the right, Mosbar's blocking him. He does a good job of taking on Mosbar, stands him up, makes the play.
This is a tremendous collection of defensive tackles on this Dallas defense. They just rotate 5 guys in and out.
They're always fresh.
Hostetler has time and throws over the middle. Ethan Horton, the tight end, at the Dallas 45-yard line. James Washington made the stop. Number 1 defense in the NFL a year ago, the Dallas Cowboys. They surprised some people the way they played. Nobody made the Pro Bowl, and only the 3rd team in 13 years to allow under 4,000 yards. And look at the company they joined. The 84 Bears, who you were very familiar with.
Thank you very much.
And the 91 Eagles. 84 Bears had you for lunch one afternoon, didn't they?
Yeah.
3rd and 4. Hostetler with time throws complete. Ethan Horton flagged down. May have been a face mask after the catch at the 34-yard line. 2 years ago, Ethan Horton went to the Pro Bowl. He gets open, has great hands, was an exceptional running back in college at North Carolina, and has had to learn the position of tight end.
Not only has he learned it, he's learned it well, but he now has a quarterback who looks for tight ends. It's something they had in New York. They had some great ones there, and so this fits right into what Jeff Hostetler is used to.
Offside, defense, penalty decline, illegal contact, defense, penalty decline. The result of the play is first down.
If they'd have had one more, they'd have had a hat trick.
Spot the ball up to 33, 1st and 10 Raiders. Andrew Glover, number 87, comes in at tight end for Horton. He's a much better blocker at 245. Hostetler 5 out of 7, 44 yards so far. Smith running hard inside the 30 down to around the 28-yard line.
You know, Mike, talking to Butch Davis, who's the new defensive coordinator, taking over for Dave Wanstead. There he is on the right, Jim Eddy on the left. I mean, he's coached under Jimmy for 14 years, Jimmy Johnson. And he said that you really understand what Coach Johnson wants. He and Dave have worked together. There's not going to be a big change in this Dallas Cowboy defense from a philosophical standpoint. They play a type of a defense where they're just not going to give up the big play. Maybe they'll be a little bit more aggressive, but they still want to not give up the big play.
Napoleon McCallum, 41, in at fullback. And they'll give a chance for Tyrone Montgomery to carry the ball. Montgomery with Raider bloodlines. His older brother, Clee Montgomery, played here. And, of course, Wilbert Montgomery, another older brother, a star with the Eagles. Fred Montgomery with the Eagles right now. Pretty good family. Cowboys on 3rd down, they're the best. They allowed only 27% 3rd down conversions a year ago. Facing 3rd and 3 right here. Tight formation, and Montgomery will try to run for it. Cut it outside, never had a chance. Charles Haley took him down.
Charles Haley is a complete end, number 94. You see they try and block out on him with Andrew Glover. Glover tries to push him out. Now, some of that is a great play by Charles Haley. Another part of that is a young running back trying to go someplace where he really shouldn't go. You've got to read the rear end of your blocker, for lack of a better description. You got to check out where his butt is. If his butt is facing you, got to cut up inside of it. You don't try and run around it.
Jager, who was missed from 54, he was wide left. We'll try this one from 46. Plenty of distance. Wide left again. 0-0. Let's check in with Chris Berman. Chris?
Doesn't really lose time because of that.
The report on Greg Skrepenak, a broken bone in his foot. Millen, nice play action. Throws low. Excellent catch by Lassick, but he lost the ball. Terry McDaniel with an escort touchdown. A 29-yard return as Lassick coughed it up. And you want to see somebody who hates mistakes, you're looking at it. And that's what the Raiders wanted to concentrate on this year, because they didn't force turnovers and they didn't score off of them.
This is an excellent play. Actually, this is a heck of a grab by Lassick. Watch the play action fake. He comes through the line. Millen slides a little, gets hit again. Nice catch, manages to put it away, and then gets it knocked away at the last minute. And nobody's going to catch Terry McDaniel.
Winston Moss, their best linebacker, knocked it loose. Jager for the point after. And he's got it. That was the final play of the first quarter, and the Raiders made it count. They have a 7-0 lead over the Dallas Cowboys. Led to the touchdown. He is trying to fill in for Emmitt Smith, who has been superb. #1 in rushing attempts in the NFL. #1 in rushing yards the last 3 years, over 4,000 yards, and tied with Barry Sanders #1 in touchdowns. 43 the last 3 years. And this is the guy that Dallas is probably going to be missing, at least for the start of the season. Kevin Williams and Brock Marion are deep. Williams is the guy they want to be their return man out of Miami. And this is Williams. And this is why they want him as a return man. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line. He really broke some huge runs at Miami, and that Miami connect along on the negotiation process with Emmitt Smith, but the Cowboys now feeling that he will not be in uniform for the start of the season. Lassick goes to about the 29. Emmitt Smith says he wants to be a Cowboy. Jerry Jones says he wants him to be a Cowboy, so we asked Jones, what's holding everything up?
So that gives us a problem. We'll try to work through this thing. In short, I really don't expect Emmitt Smith in for the first part of the season.
And Lassick is buried by Winston Moss. That is a little frightening for Dallas fans. They're about $1.5 million apart in their negotiations. That's a big difference.
Well, you know, there's the sign. I mean, that's one of the signs around. I think that Emmitt Smith is as valuable to the Dallas Cowboys as any quarterback is to any franchise. I mean, I'm sure that Jerry Jones doesn't want to hear me say that, but that's a fact. He's that important. Now, how they work things out, that's up to them. This guy's a very integral part of the football team.
Millen rifled near sideline, complete to Irvin, shoved out of bounds by Terry McDaniel. Thurman Thomas signed a $3.4 million contract. Originally, Emmitt Smith said, I want Thurman Thomas kind of money, and then he said, hold it, I want Emmitt Smith kind of money, which is $4 million.
Well, you know, Thurman happened to come up at a year when other people aren't. I mean, I think one of the situations you have with the Cowboys is you have a young group of football players who are, you've got a young group of superstars. You've got Troy Aikman coming up. You've got Michael Irvin coming up. I mean, there is going to be a salary cap, and somewhere there's got to be a number where Jerry Jones is going to have to draw the line.
Lassick trying to get outside, and the Raiders just swarm through. Andre Bruce, who is now playing defensive end. He's been a bust as a linebacker and a tight end. They tried that in Atlanta. Guy has a world of talent, always has, but has just never been able to put it together in the NFL.
A lot of times it takes guys years to find their niche, find out what they do well. He gives them a nice balance on that defensive line because he's only at 260, so he gives them some quickness and speed to go with Chester McLaughlin's size and mass at 320.
Of course, Howie Long would normally be over there. He just signed his contract. Millen dumps it over the middle. There's Irvin. What a brilliant receiver. Down to the 48-yard line, a gain of 17. Lionel Washington finally caught him and pushed him out of bounds. He said, we dealt in a world of necessities, not desires, and now he can fulfill all of his desires. Delay, Lassick dancing at the line of scrimmage, and then falls forward to about the 45. Joe Kelly and Eddie Anderson on the stop for the Raiders.
I would envision Lassick's role on the Dallas Cowboy football team as a guy who would be brought in to spell Emmitt Smith. I mean, when everybody's here. 5 or 6 plays a game. That's it.
But if Emmett isn't here, can they go with Lassick to start the season at running back?
Not and have him carry 15 and 20 times. I think they'd have to rotate people through. Beasley would have to play. A.G. would probably play. Darren Gaynor would wind up playing.
2nd and 7. Millen to A.G. Broke the tackle and may have gotten the first down through the arms of Aaron Wallace, who appeared to have him wrapped up.
So, Mike, we were talking about Jeff Hawkins.
Dallas down 7-0, but driving at the rate of 37. Millen had plenty of time, escapes the sack, and slides at the 20. Anthony Smith had him, and now a flag is down as Smith came in late. How Anthony Smith missed him, he still doesn't know.
I'm telling you, when a quarterback goes down, you've got to let him go. This is going to be a personal foul against the Raiders. If he even thinks that he wants to go down, you can't go after him.
Personal foul. The defense, unnecessary roughness. Number 99 will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Winston Moss protesting the penalty.
You make the call. Millen does a nice job escaping pressure in the pocket, does a good job of sliding. Now he's a runner. He's not looking to throw the ball anymore. He's just looking for people. Sees people coming, figures he's going to slide. He's down. There comes the hit. I think it was a little late. Good call by the ref.
First down, Dallas, just outside the 10. Millen wants to throw for it. Had it knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
When you're throwing the ball just 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, you have to deal with arms, legs, and hands, and wrist. There's Chester McLaughlin. Gets that big left wrist up, swats it back.
Dallas inside the 20, one of the best teams in football. But the first 2 plays wouldn't tell you that, as they have lost 2 yards, and it will be 3rd and 12. Joe Kelly, the pickup from the Jets, made the tackle.
Watching Winston Moss play out there, you wouldn't believe he's still bothered by a knee injury. I mean, he's all over the field.
Troy Aikman led the NFL in touchdown passes inside the 20-yard line. Of course, he has so many weapons and such a brilliant offense. He can strike from anywhere. Millen with time. And a great defensive play. The reach in by Derek Hoskins, the strong safety. Just got a piece of it. It was intended for Jimmy Smith.
Watch the right part of your screen. This is just excellent one-on-one defensive coverage. Here comes the crossing pattern. The ball's put out there. Now there's a case where when Hugh Miller let that ball go, he tried to make it too good. Instead of firing it, he just threw it out where he anticipated a nice, easy throw.
Lynn Elliott, who struggled in his last preseason game, he missed 4 of them. Knocks this one through from short range. And the Cowboys finally get on the scoreboard with 9:49 to go in the first half. They're still down 7-3. There's 9:49 to go first half. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann with you, and the Cowboys, who just got on the scoreboard with a field goal, will kick off. Millen had a chance to get them in the end zone, but couldn't do it because Hoskins made that excellent defensive play. Gaston Green and Sam Grady, another one of the Raiders sprinters, deep to return. They won't get a chance on this one as it's boomed out of the end zone, and they'll have to start from the 20. The Raiders will have the ball when we come back to Dallas. 7-3.
Good ball game. Here, Dave Thomas, one of the rookies trying to make this ball club. And the way you make it is on special teams. Elvis Patterson's coming in. Left-hand side of your screen. Kapow. But you can't stay down. You got to get up. Even if he hits you again, you got to get up. Yeah. That's what coaches look for. One of 6 rookies that, in all likelihood, will make this ball club. There he is. Guy's been out of football for a while. Brock Marion. Great kick blocker. Kevin Williams run like the wind.
Bell picks up about 5. Let's check in with Chris Berman. Chris?
Guys?
All right, Chris, and Mark Rippon has looked good in the preseason, too.
Mark has looked really great. Mark has played really, really well. His weight is down. He's moving well. He needs training camp, and he's showing the form of 2 years ago.
Hostetler with a short set. Got it out in a hurry to Tim Brown. Well, you wonder the kind of numbers this guy could have put up if he hadn't been hurt in his second year.
Yeah, and I think that particular type of pass can be so effective for the Raiders because they have so much speed. Watch this. Look at the cushion. You have to respect their speed. I mean, you got some pretty darn good corners. Kevin Smith's a good corner for the Cowboys, but you got to give them space. These guys make somebody miss, and they're gone.
It's a first down for the Raiders at their own 32. Smith is probably getting more carries tonight than he will a half of season. Again, a report on Skrepenak on the offensive line, who was hurt on the first series, has a broken bone in his foot. Already Gerald Perry, who was projected to be the starting left tackle, has a torn triceps, although he should be ready for the season. And that is number 55, Rich Stevens, the free agent out of Tulsa, who is now playing left tackle. Smith has already carried 5 times for 24 yards. Bell 6 times for 21. Wright is in motion. Hostetler with time. Throws to Alexander Wright. Stops shy of the 40-yard line. And it was middle linebacker Robert Jones.
I talked to Tom Walsh, the offensive coordinator, about Alexander Wright. And, you know, there was the knock on this guy that he couldn't catch. And really, he had heard it, too. And when he came to camp, he said, hey, look, the guy caught everything we threw at him. That was an unfounded knock. He caught the ball over his shoulders well. He gives an awful lot of power to that wide receiving core as well as speed. And Jimmy Johnson was the guy who brought him into the National Football League.
3rd and 2. 4-man rush. Hostetler with time. Dumps it to Bell. First down up to the 46-yard line. Hostetler is a master at this kind of thing.
This can be a very potent and scary offense, and Jeff runs it right to the tee. You put the ball up the field. We haven't seen him try and go deep, which is very unusual for a Raider football team to try and take it all the way down the field. Tom Walsh, offensive coordinator, there he is right there, standing over in the corner, hiding in the corner. He can't hide from me. I don't know what he's trying to do. Hide over there. I see it.
But it is unusual they haven't gone deep because they have their own track team. 4 former Olympic sprinters on the wide receiver roster. But it does stretch the defense. Here comes the blitz. And there goes Nick Bell. Kevin Smith at 177 pounds came up and tried to bear hug Nick Bell and got shoved back 8 yards for his trouble.
I think Al Davis has got to be sitting watching this game feeling very good about some of the decisions that have been made. Of course, Art Shell is seeing something on the sideline that he hasn't seen in a long time. That's consistency in the offense, giving the defense a chance to rest on the sideline. The biggest fans of this offense are going to be the defensive guys of the Raiders.
Yeah, Howie Long said he really got sick of coming out of the game, and 30 seconds later he'd hear somebody yell defense. Clee Montgomery will get a shot at the running back spot and crosses the 40 down around the 39. Excuse me, Tyrone Montgomery. I'm thinking of his brother.
Now there's your change of pace right there. Nick Bell comes out 250 pounds, wham, runs into a DB. Now all of a sudden Tyrone Montgomery comes in, little skinny guy, makes a move, hits a seam, picks up 4 yards, 5 yards.
And the one thing, if you're a Raider fan, that you haven't seen so far that must thrill you to death, no turnovers. They had 5 last week in the loss to the 49ers. Hostetler dumps it in the flat for Smith. Makes a nice move to make the first tackler miss, then breaks another one. Smith to the 10 to the 9-yard line. A 30-yard gain for Steve Smith out of Penn State.
Nice read by Jeff Hostetler. Sees exactly what's happening defensively. Doesn't like it downfield. Knows where to go with the football to the secondary receiver. Smith gets beat. Smith keeps running. Gets it over. Finally gets knocked out of bounds by Smith. Smith missed it. Smith made it. Smith ran with it.
How good has Hostetler been? 7 straight, 9 out of 11. First and goal. To the 5 goes Napoleon McCallum, the former Navy star.
The handoff to number 41, Napoleon McCallum.
McCallum now playing fullback. He's up to around 230 pounds. He was a great tailback at Navy, then had to serve his time in the service, and has never really done much in the pros.
It's always been used to fill in spots. Punt return, kick return, spell runners.
The Raiders have controlled the football. Look at the domination. Almost 2.5 times what Dallas has had. McCallum and Bell, the running backs. Play action by Hostetler. Horton was wide open. He didn't see him. But now it's picked off in the end zone. Larry Brown with the interception. Hostetler had Ethan Horton wide open in the corner of the end zone. Didn't see him and got a pick. But they missed an opportunity to get 7 more as Hostetler threw his first pass of the half.
Great play action fake. Now from the left part of your screen, here comes Willie Gault. Jeff Hostetler just hangs this up and really doesn't take into account that Willie Gault has nowhere to run away from Larry Brown. The end zone, the end line creates another defensive guy for you. Now, you think this is a preseason game? Jimmy Johnson has just read the riot act to his football team. He wants him to get out and play quite a bit harder.
Millen gives it to Michael Beasley, and Beasley across the 20. And he has given them that kind of attitude all throughout training camp. He said he's not cutting anybody any slack.
Yeah, but he's going to start cutting people.
Yeah.
He may not cut him much slack, but these guys got to understand pretty soon some people are going to start getting cut if you don't give them a reason to keep you.
Jimmy's one of those guys that believes you either get better or you get worse. There's no in between. Second and 7 with 3 minutes to go in the half. Millen in the flat to Beasley. He's got excellent speed and dives out of bounds near the 28-yard line. Tomorrow night, hope you'll join us for Sunday night. 3rd and 3 for the Cowboys. Millen again short to Beasley, and Beasley dives to the 32 as the first down. Winston Moss in on the stop.
The fact that and Lassick has struggled a little bit in that area. That's the difference between being a rookie and thinking and being a veteran and having it behind you.
Dallas has called a timeout with 2:06 to go first half. A lot has been made of the Jerry and Jimmy relationship. We asked head coach Jimmy Johnson to clarify what it is. And at halftime, we'll have more on that relationship, as well as Chris Berman with all the baseball and NFL preseason scores in our 12th man contest presented by Lee Jeans and McDonald's. You'll want to get all the details on that. It's a great contest. Dallas will keep the ball on the ground. Beasley up to around the 35. And we have hit the 2-minute warning here in Dallas, with the Raiders continuing to lead it 7-3. Berman with all the scores and highlights, and our Lee Jeans and McDonald's NFL 12th man contest. You and 3 of your friends will get an all-expenses-paid trip to all 8 away games of your favorite team, and if they make the playoffs and go on to the Super Bowl, you get to go too. It is a remarkable contest. It didn't say anything about employees not being able to enter.
I didn't hear that. Did
I'm
you?
getting in on it, and more about Jimmy and Jerry's relationship. Something I think you'll find fascinating after all the things that have been said in recent weeks. Millen in the 2-minute drill to Beasley. Got away from Torrin Dorn, got out of bounds to stop the clock.
This was always my favorite part of the game, and it also is my favorite part to watch, because I really feel like this is where a quarterback shows you how much control they have over the game.
clock management, timeouts, instructing guys to get out of bounds, knowing where you want to get for either a field goal or a touchdown.
Kevin Williams, number 85, and in the ball game is one of the wide receivers. Jimmy Smith, another. Millen with good protection. Throws complete to Williams, taken out of bounds inside the 40-yard line.
Oh, I like him. I really do. I think that young man has really got a future. He could probably be the offensive rookie of the year in the league. I really believe that. Look at him, or at least in the NFC. Nice presence of where he is. Enough presence of mind to gather himself towards the sidelines, pick up a few more yards, but not cut inside and hurt your team.
And you notice he cradled that ball a little bit. He's playing with a bad left hand that he hurt in the last game. He was recruited to Miami by Jimmy Johnson.
I watched 2 practices, never saw him drop a ball.
He was a steal in the second round. Millen again short to Beasley. And Beasley dragged down by the collar by Patrick Bates, the #1 draft choice out of Texas A&M.
Well, here's a guy visiting with Patrick Bates. Really, you know, he said he feels his skills and ability are there to be great. A modest sort, wouldn't you say?
Millen again throws complete down to the 20-yard line. It will be another first down for Dallas as Irvin went up to get it. Guy is such a great leaper. Anything within his range, he's got. Cowboys with 1 timeout left. And just out of the reach of Jimmy Smith. I'd like him to come on to be the number 3 receiver. And his was the name that was mentioned in the possible trade to the Rams for Cleveland, Gary. Jimmy Johnson admitted it's getting tougher to trade anymore.
Yeah, but
if I was another general manager and the phone rang and they said it's Jimmy Johnson, I'd hang up. Just the way it was with Bobby Bethel. Forget it. He's going to pick your pocket. 2nd and 10 with 1:14 left in the half. Blitz and Millen throws incomplete. Washington will be called for interference. On top of Irvin, and Lionel Washington upset about it.
Pass interference. Defense, number 48. First down.
The best way to describe the way the Raiders play defense is in-your-face defense. Look at him. Number 48 up on Irvin. He's all over him. He wrapped that hand around. See the right hand? That right hand is a telltale sign. See the right hand? Right there. You can't do that around the waist. The referee's going to see that, and he made the call.
1st and goal on the penalty. Beasley on the draw. Another flag is down as Winston Moss stood him up. Winston Moss did a great job of closing the hole after Beasley made the juke and appeared to be free, and it will go against the Cowboys with 1:04 to go in the half. The Raiders have the only touchdown. They got that on a turnover.
Holding. Offense, number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
Penalty called on John Giesick, the right guard, and even though he didn't go to the Pro Bowl last year, he graded out higher than anyone else on the offensive line.
There he is, Mike. He was in the circle. Comes out. Yeah, I see he got beat off the line. Chester McLaughlin makes a, he's awful quick for a big guy.
And he's big at 320 plus. 4-man rush. Millen rifles it over the middle, nearly intercepted, intended for Novacek. It looked like it was behind him, and Eddie Anderson nearly came up with it. I believe that's only the 2nd time they've thrown toward Novacek all night.
And the last time, remember, Millen got down there, he got it tipped as well. This is going to get tipped at the line of scrimmage once again. Actually, it's downfield. Moss tips it. Eddie Anderson has a play on it. Novacek almost comes back to get it.
This will be the 11th play of this drive with a minute to go. It's 2nd and goal from the 18. Millen throws short, incomplete, intended for Kevin Williams. And the Boo Birds are out of Texas Stadium.
shot at it, throw it up. If nothing else, get rid of the football. Make it a positive play some way.
3rd and goal. The dump to Beasley. Trying to use his speed, but nowhere to go down to the 14-yard line, and it will be 4th and goal.
But it is a positive play, and that's what you want to come away with.
And now, do the Cowboys send in the field goal team or not? They continue to let the clock run. And it looks like they will set up for the field goal, try to run the clock down and get the final play of the first half.
They'll get it right down around 8 or 9 seconds and then use their last time out.
Cowboys have had trouble scoring points in the preseason. 7 against Minnesota, 13 against the Lions, 3 here tonight. And Lynn Elliott, who hit from 28, will try this one from 32 as Dallas stops the clock with 11 seconds to go.
Cornish is a lot different than it is with Hillestrap. Now, what he'll do is, as soon as you see Novacek, once he gets down in this position, you'll see Novacek put his hand up. That's the indication to the center that the kicker is ready. Everything works in a little sign communication. Elliott will say to Novacek, I'm ready. Novacek will wait a second, get his mark, put his hand up. When his hand goes up, you can count 1001, 1002, the ball is coming. Elliott's in a rhythm. With Cornish, it's a little bit more delayed. And here's a guy leaning forward, waiting for the ball, and it's not there, so it throws off his balance. That's part of the problem that he had trying to kick the field goals last week in London.
Of course, what coaches are always looking for are deep snappers who can also play another position, and they don't think Hillestrap out of SMU is going to be an answer at center if he would have to play. Cornish would be.
With the roster the way it's set up now, Mike, being able to carry extra people, I think that you almost have to look at the snapper as a specialist, and you have to treat it that way, because you know, you get in a game like this, 3 seconds to go in a game, if it's for the win, you need it. Joe Avisano, he certainly would love to have all of his units functioning at a top level. Now watch, he looked, he puts his, there's the flash, 1/1000, field goal, 3.
And it's no good.
And he missed it.
Holy cow. Looked like the snap and the hold were fine, and Lynn Elliott. Now let's join Chris to get the football. The rookie from the 4. Across the 45 into Raider territory. There is a flag down after a return of 52 yards.
Did I tell you? Did I tell you?
It looked like Sam Grady got there late.
Personal foul. Personal foul. Face mask. Number 85. 15 yards. First down.
And that's Sam Grady.
It's a 15-yarder, too. They're thinking that's intentional. Watch this. It'll go up the right side of your screen. He gets a little bit of a hold. He's through the first wave. Now he does a great job of reading blocks. Now, he's not going to outrun everybody on this Raider football team. Now, if he let go a little sooner, it would have probably been only a 5-yard penalty, but he was brought down by his face mask.
They're convinced he will be able to solve their return problems caused by the departure of Shelton Martin. Inside the 25-yard line goes the rookie Derek Lassick. Let's take a look at the halftime stats. And it was ball control for the Raiders. And Hostetler, 9 out of 12 in that first half. They rushed for 63 yards.
Well, you know, Millen was 11 for 18. Haas, I think, looked good. Of course, made the interception. But everybody was very, very consistent other than time of possession. The Raiders did an excellent job of running the football, which is what they want to do better this year.
Turnover for each team. The Raiders got their 7 points off of the turnover. Here's the Lassick. Down to the 17-yard line. That will be a Cowboy first down.
You know, it's a little tough when you're in a preseason game like this. Talking to Jimmy Johnson, they only spent 2 practices putting this game plan in, and it really isn't a game plan. They don't look at tendencies. They don't try and isolate people. They're just running plays. So it's a little bit shaded as to the production on offense that you get.
Lassick in the eye. To the 15-yard line. Millen expected to go 3 quarters tonight. He has the backup job locked up.
And he needs to go that much. They need to get him as much work as they can because Troy will be back next week. He'll wind up starting and playing in the last 2 exhibition games. And they're going to need Millen ready just in case.
Lassick has already gained 30 yards, but on 12 carries, so the per average is way down. 2nd and 8, Millen to throw. With time over the middle and nearly intercepted by Torrin Dorn. He threw it right between 2 receivers, Jimmy Smith and Kevin Williams.
That's hard to do, you know. You're not supposed to have crossing patterns quite this tight. There's Kevin Williams up against Lionel Washington, makes the move. Excuse me, Torrin Dorn. There they go. See, one's supposed to be at like 12 yards. The other's supposed to be at 5, not both at 6. That really screws up the quarterback's read.
Tim Daniel, number 3, in at a wide receiver spot. Millen throws incomplete. Excellent defensive play by Ricky Dixon on Williams. Dixon picked up from Cincinnati in a trade.
Good set by Millen. Williams coming in motion. Makes the quick plant inside, looking for the ball. That's just great defense. That's you just chalk it. Absolutely perfect. Ball hit his chest. Ball got knocked out.
Lynn Elliott will try it again. Missed from 32. Hellestray the snapper. This is from 33. And I don't know. That one went right over the goalpost, and it's no good. And the crowd is on Lynn Elliott as he walks off the field. The Raiders still continue to lead the Cowboys here in Irving, Texas, 7-3. And Vince Evans, the new Raider quarterback, 38 years old, a proven backup. He's got Gaston Green and Napoleon McCallum behind him. And here's Gaston Green, first carry. Never had a chance, wrapped up by Jimmy Jones. Well, you figure if you've got a coach named Jimmy Johnson and an owner named Jerry Jones, if your name is Jimmy Jones, you're going to make this ball club.
Yeah, if you happen to go to Miami, there's a real good chance you're going to wind up here at some point in time. 4th-year guy out of Miami, 3rd-round pick in '90. Jeff Hostetler, I thought played a very productive first half. He played Jeff Hostetler type of football except for the 1 interception. And there it is. 5 pass completions under 10 yards. Didn't try and put the ball down the field, but moved his team.
Evans with a pump fake and then throws the ball coughed up incomplete, and it's going to be ruled not a fumble but an incomplete pass intended for Gaston Green coming out of the backfield. Cowboys thought they had the ball, but an incomplete pass.
It's interesting, Mike, with the addition of Jeff Hostetler as your quarterback, I think that Vince Evans' role on the Raiders has changed a little bit because the style of offense that they will be using now, I think, suits him a little bit better than the drop back and let it fly that they've had in previous years. If they need to go with Vince as their quarterback, I think he could be very productive for them in this style.
Well, he showed he could still play at the end of the year last year against the Redskins. He was superb. This one is rifled, complete for a first, or near a first down. Now they mark it about a yard short. Willie Gault made the catch, and Gault says, hey, I was over the 30. And the Cowboys are saying, no, you weren't. The 30 was the yard marker they had to make.
You have to respect speed. There's Willie. There's Kevin. Kevin's on his way almost out of the picture. Willie slams on the brakes.
4th down and inches. That was a nice piece of officiating because he came back and crossed the 30-yard line. Gossett will punt to Kevin Williams. It's a sophomore at Miami. He's 16 yards of return. From the 23. Made the first man miss and got up to about the 28-yard line. There's a flag down after a 47-yard punt. We'll check it.
Flag on the play.
And it's holding against the Cowboys, which will back them up from their own 37.
Holding. On the return, a post-possession foul. The foul occurred prior to the receiver gaining possession of the ball. Number 41, 10-yard penalty. First down.
So the Cowboys will have the ball at the 15 when we come back. The Raiders still lead 7-3. Battle 7-3. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann with you.
Score doesn't indicate it, but there's been a lot of movement. You want to see a guy, we showed you Dave Thomas from the Cowboys trying to make it as a rookie. Here's Elvis Patterson coming down. Now watch his right leg. You get that right arm out there. He may not get him with the right arm, but the right foot worked very well. The veteran's still excited. That's why he's on this team, because he's a great special teamer.
Millen airs it out. And nearly intercepted, overthrown, and Dan Land was the closest to it, intended for Kevin Williams. Land with excellent position. First team offensive line remains in there for the Cowboys in front of Millen. Classic behind Gaynor.
Art Shell had his agenda. Jimmy Jones running back.
Hugh Millen has seen only one of his last 7 passes. Dumps this one off complete to Williams, and he is body slammed at the 20-yard line by Torrin Dorn out of North Carolina.
I think the Raiders are going to be a different football team this year. I notice an attitude change.
I was just going to say, the attitude is what is remarkable. They talk like a team that barely missed the Super Bowl last year and filled in a couple of gaps, and they're ready to go back.
They feel like they can be a much better ball club. And I think attitude is dictated by your defense. And the Raiders have always had an aggressive one.
That's Charles Jordan waiting for the punt of Steve Domingos, the free agent from San Francisco State. Trying to keep the punting battle alive here in the preseason. Not a lot of hang time on them. And Jordan from the 39. And whipped down at the 44-yard line. A return of 5 after a punt of 39. And Tommy Agee, great job on special teams. 3 Raiders with 9:32 to go third quarter from Texas Stadium in Irving, and Sugar Bear Hamilton talking to his defensive line troops. Howie Long, number 75 in the middle. This guy is still intense. He can still play, and had a $100,000 plus fishing trip holding out for a new contract. Evans gets it out to Darryl Hobbs, seeing his first action. It was funny talking to Art Shell the other night, Joe, when he said that he had lost some control last year because he had some guys around that were bad apples, that had bad attitudes, that were not leaders that he wanted in the locker room. And he told him at the beginning of this year, that's not going to happen. I am going to have leaders and positive role models.
Yeah, he really lost. He felt like he lost control of the locker room. And a coach, you don't have to be there, but you have to understand the pulse of what's going on.
Second and 3. Evans, who still has that beautiful touch on the ball, gets it out to Hobbs.
I love the way he throws. But back to Art. You know, the thing is also, he made a couple of statements last night that I found very interesting. What he has now on this football team, when you talk about a new attitude, he says, I have guys who are concerned, number 1, about playing, and number 2, they don't care what other guys are being paid. They were a part of a distraction on this football team a year ago. And he feels like that's gone. He said this is the best training camp that he feels like he's been around since 1990.
Of course, the Marcus Allen controversy is behind them. Greg Robinson, the rookie from Northeast Louisiana, getting a chance to run the football down to the 31-yard line. 8th-round draft choice this year. Of course, Art would not criticize any of the former players. He would not say this guy was or that guy wasn't. But they unloaded some veterans who had obviously been unhappy here.
I think unloading veterans is a very difficult decision for a coach because they've given a lot of years of seniority. And the Raiders really look at all their guys as a family. If you look at the organization, a lot of guys that have played are still working there. It's tough to let them go, but sometimes you have to make the decision and start over.
2nd and 1. Evans. Intercepted. They'll down it in the end zone. The pick by Kevin Smith on the tip. Intended for Hobbs, knocked away by the rookie Dave Thomas. Still 7-3.
For 41, number 1, Darryl Hobbs. See him, he catches the quick underneath pass. Thomas comes up, does a good job of closing from inside out to make the play. Now here's the interception. Thomas giving him a little cushion. He proves he can run too. Now the ball's a little bit underthrown. I think Vince tried to guide that one home. Keeps it alive. Kevin Smith with the turnover. Dave Thomas making it happen.
So the Cowboys able to take over at their own 20-yard line. Lassick gets out to about the 27-yard line. Thomas, one of those guys that may have been a reach because he didn't play his last 2 years at Tennessee. One as a red shirt and then lost a year of eligibility. But he is certainly proving in the preseason and in training camp that he's got a shot at this club. Lassick again getting a lot of work here as we start the second half. Crosses to 30. Let's check in with Chris Berman. Chris, see the Steelers this year against the Vikings coming up shortly.
Vince Evans is the perfect Raider in this situation. That particular pass he just threw, Hobbs was open so quick, he just tried to guide it and make too perfect a pass.
Lassick breaks this one out across the 40-yard line to the 41. Another first down.
The Dallas Cowboys are preparing to get ready to play without Emmitt Smith. That's why Lassick's getting as much work as he is. This is a Smith move. Watch this. Up inside, slide and jump to the left. Don't just cut. Slide and jump. Make the move up inside. Got that low center of gravity. Makes the move inside. Seems to get stronger as the game goes on.
Rushed for over 900 yards as a senior at Alabama. Has 55 in this game. Millen got it to Williams. He's wrapped up, but not before he's down to the Raider 46-yard line. Keith Traylor, free agent linebacker, number 50, made the stop. It's a gain of 13.
Quite often, Mike, rookies have to think, and it takes away from their fluid movement. Here's a case where Kevin Williams is going to go out. Number 85, Dan Land, comes inside, just hooks up, knows exactly where he wants to go, makes the catch, protects the ball when he gets in traffic. All the little things that guys tend to forget when they start thinking too much. This kid's a natural.
1st and 10 Cowboys. They spotted at the 45. Lassick again. Nice slice move back to the inside and keeps struggling. Excellent effort to get 3 yards. Mike Jones out of Missouri made the tackle, and Lassick upset that he didn't get more out of it.
Mike, the way the Dallas Cowboy offense is structured with Emmitt Smith carrying the ball as much as we did, we saw that there were only 2 other carries by anybody else. It affects how Norv Turner wants to approach the season. He's going to have to do it basically by running back by committee. That affects the play calling, that affects the defense, that affects time of possession, and ultimately could affect the score.
And we saw Michael Beasley, 21 on the sideline. He's gotten a lot of work tonight, too. Miller throws the quick slant and got it out to Jimmy Smith, and Jimmy Smith is gone. Yards. He got away from Dan Land.
All this is a simple 5-step drop, little quick post, just a missed tackle. Dan Land just runs through him. They basically had Jimmy Smith on his way to L.A. for Cleveland Gary. But Jerome Bettis has got a bad foot. That deal's been put on hold, and it may be put on hold for a long time.
And a young man who spent all of last year recovering from a training camp injury. trying to make his mark here. Elliott with the point after, and the Cowboys take the lead. A 41-yard touchdown strike. Cowboys on the Raiders. 7. We have a sellout crowd of 65,000 here at Texas Stadium in Irving in the Bud Light storyline. Hugh Millen, 14 out of 24. Hostetler, while he was in there, hit 9 of 12, did throw the 1 interception. Lassik's rushing total now up to 59 yards, and it's not been a good night for field goal kickers. Land burned on the touchdown play. Robinson and Grady are deep to receive. Grady 9 yards deep. Robinson says keep it there, and he will.
On this particular play, Millen doesn't.
It's an island.
So now the Raiders have fallen behind 10-7. Greg Robinson is the tailback, and he'll get it on the sweep. And the Cowboys swarm to the ball at the 20. First man there, Darren Smith, another Miami linebacker, and this kid can fly.
Do the Dallas Cowboys of the second half look a little bit different than the Dallas Cowboys of the first half? I wonder what Jimmy had to say to him. I think it was an extension of the conversation after the interception that they got.
They may have to repaint the locker room walls. I'll bet it was hot enough in there to peel some. Second and 10 for Vince Evans. Crowd getting into it a little bit. He throws and nearly picked off again. Hobbs couldn't hold it, and Edwards had it in his hand. Dixon couldn't hold it. John Miller and Joe any better than that. Third and 10. Evans throwing that one off his back foot, and the catch made by Galt, first down. Willie Galt, who is actually number 3 on the depth chart at his wide receiver spot, fighting to stay on this ball club.
Throwing off your back foot is not what a quarterback should do, but Vince Evans has got such a strong arm. He plants his foot, turns and fires it, and still manages to get it out, and just purely muscled it out. He's still got a great arm.
First down, Raiders, 32. Haley may have jumped early. They go out to Hobbs. Lost the ball. Incomplete is the ruling. And Hobbs has had trouble holding on. Dave Thomas, the man who hit him and knocked it loose.
Dave Thomas is an interesting guy. I mean, here's a guy who really hasn't played much football.
Offside, defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
And he really closes well. I mean, he's a tall guy, which is unusual. Here's a guy at 6'2", 205 on the corner, probably going to make the Cowboy Ball Club as a special team player. But the thing about him is he's got enough movement and turning in his hips to do a darn good job on the corner.
The reason he was drafted as Larry Lacewell, an assistant with the Cowboys, was at Tennessee when he did play there. Robinson, nice cut and bursts across the 45. Let's check in with Chris Berman. All right, thank you, Chris. And we have 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Dallas has taken the lead over the Raiders. The Raiders have marched to their own 46. Here comes the blitz. And Robinson went through the hole, vacated by the blitzer, but only got a couple.
Now there's something.
Hennings on the stop.
There's something the Dallas Cowboy defense has not done an awful lot of, is blitz in the past. Now you could say it's a conservative nature of Dave Wanstatt, but part of the problem is they just didn't have the talent to get it done. You can't blitz if you don't have people coming. Watch the blitz right here. Going to shoot the gap. Now that creates problems in the running game as well as putting pressure on the quarterback. See, there's really nowhere to go, and it allows Hennings to make a play.
And the Cowboys have done a lot more work on blitzing in training camp this year. Evans had it batted down at the line of scrimmage. Tony Casillas. What a pickup he was from the Falcons. Still a great run stopper, and he showed you some agility there.
The Cowboys have a distinct advantage in preseason no matter who they play. When they start to put in their second unit defensive line, they're all first unit guys because they rotate 8 and 9 through. Little spin move by Casillas. You saw him, number 75, gets double teamed at the line, does the smart thing, says I can't penetrate. I'll just see if I can swat it away.
3rd and 9. Pressure on Evans, who can still move. Vince can pick him up and put him down, can't he?
He really can. They talk about Randall Cunningham's athletic ability and running with the football, and it is great. But I would also put Vince Evans in that category as being able to make things happen when he breaks a pocket. Of course, he's a lot older. He doesn't do it as fast.
Did it fast enough. It's a first down at the Dallas 44 with 56 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. 14th year out of Southern Cal. 3 years in the USFL. This brings us to his 38th year. Pressure, screen. Napoleon McCallum picks up about 3, and Dixon Edwards on the stop. Edwards, a 2nd-round draft choice in '91.
This Raider offense is curious to me. And the reason I say that is they have a reputation and have a lot of speed, and they go deep. You sort of sit, if you're a defensive coach, waiting for something to happen. And if they're able to move the ball with a good running game and a short passing game, that's only going to make that long pass more effective.
Evans short over the middle and off the hands of Charles Jordan. Cowboys had another shot at an interception but couldn't come up with it. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter here in Irving, Texas. Cowboys over the Raiders 10-7. Irving, Texas, and with all due apologies to Alex Trebek, it's time to play Raider Jeopardy. The category, 1,000-yard receivers for 200. The question, he's the last Raider to gain 1,000 yards receiving in a season. Please make sure your answer is in the form of a question. Mervin Fernandez.
I had that.
That was 1989. 1,000-yard rushers, the last time a Raider gained 1,000 yards in a season. When was 1985? Marcus Allen.
I had that too.
Next category, 20 or more touchdown passes in a season. The last Raider to throw 20 TD passes in a season.
Who is Jim Plunkett?
Very good. 1983. You have to go back a long way to hit some of those, especially Jim Plunkett, 1983.
I know. That's the one that surprised me more than anything. Been that long.
And they want Hostetler to be the guy to do it this year. Randy Jordan and Tyrone Montgomery are the running backs, 17 and 21 respectively. Cowboys show blitz, and here they come. Everybody. And knocked away at the last minute. Nice defensive play by Chris Hall out of East Carolina. David Jones was behind them, but Hall got a hand up.
Butch Davis showing a little bit of a change-up for the Cowboys. Blitz 2 out of the last 3 plays. There he is. Now, the reason why I think the Cowboys are going to be able to do that is because they've got more depth and ability on defense to be able to cut it loose.
And the other coach with him is Jim Eddy, who was the Houston Oilers defensive coordinator, and I really felt badly for last year. I thought he was the scapegoat for that debacle in the playoffs, and he is now a defensive line coach and an excellent coach in the NFL. Gossett will come in to punt to Williams on 4th and 8. Trying to pooch it toward the corner. Beautiful job by Gossett. Knocked it out of bounds inside the 10. Beginning in September, Jason Garrett, the new Cowboy quarterback, the free agent out of Princeton. And Lassick remains in the tailback. Squirts through to about the 10.
The handoff to Derek Lassick.
Garrett spent 92 on the practice squad. He's completed 2/3 of his passes here in the preseason. Jimmy Johnson feels he will be the 3rd quarterback on this roster. They're really working Lassick hard tonight. 18 carries, 60 yards. Make it 19 carries, and he is buried before he got back to the line of scrimmage that time.
Well, they have to find out some things about him. I mean, they have to find out, first of all, if he can take a pounding. If this thing with Emmitt Smith extends for 1, 2, 3 games, he's going to be a guy that they're going to have to count on. So I wouldn't be surprised. He's taking a pounding here tonight, but also you can bet when they go to practice, he's going to be expected to get it and get going as well.
And for a team like the Cowboys, that's what they're trying to work on in preseason, some of the little things. Not so much concerned about winning the game. Michael Beasley out of West Virginia comes in as the third down back. And the Cowboys will have to punt it away. Tim Daniel, the intended receiver, but Jason Garrett well wide of him. Hit as he threw. And John Jett, who had his only punt in the first half of 50 yards, can just about wrap up the punting job. He gets off a good one here.
Mike, that's the area that the Cowboys feel like they want to just, for lack of a better term, tweak a little bit, is their special teams. They've got the position players. Now they want to fill in and find some of the special team players that they need.
And they let Mike Saxon go, even though he averaged 43 yards a kick last year. His net was down around 33. Another good kick by John Jett, and I think he just got his uniform permanently. This is Jordan. Inside the 50, back to the 46-yard line. A return of 15 after a booming punt of 51. We'll be back to Texas Stadium after that. 2nd and 15. Hobbs hangs on to that one and forced out of bounds at the 42. We're talking about the Raiders' speed and literally blinding speed that they have on this ball club. Grady, an Olympic champion in '84. Willie Gault set the world record on the 4x100 team. James Trapp, a defensive back, an alternate. James Jett, an Olympic gold medalist 4x100 a year ago, and Alexander Wright, 2-time NFL's fastest man, and yet we haven't seen the bomb tonight from the Raider offense.
Scares me, though, just thinking about it.
3rd and long. Evans over the middle. Hobbs made the catch, but it'll be shy of the first down at about the 37-yard line. How fast are these guys? The best 100 times that they have run, put them together, comes out to 40-49, and the '92 U.S. Olympic team record was 37-40. These guys can still run, and it's football speed.
Remember something else. These guys are starting standing still, the football players, and the guys on the 4x100 are moving. So, I mean, that's something to consider, too. They're fast.
Raiders will go for it on 4th and a yard. Gaston Green on the sweep. Has the first down, but there's a penalty marker. And it will be a delay of game.
Delay of the game. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, that's where the rule change comes in. Instead of 45-second clock, you have a 40-second clock this year. And obviously it cost them.
Especially when coaches have to make critical decisions and when their teams are located at either end of the field. That's when it's going to be the most difficult to be a time management individual. That's why you have the preseason. The rule change has been made. You have to get used to it.
Now it's 4th and 6, and they'll punt it away. Gossett with Kevin Williams deep. Cowboys gave Gossett a big rush, going for the corner again, and he got it. A brilliant punt by Gossett at the 2. 40-yard coffin corner job by Jeff Gossett. We'll be back in a moment. 39 left in the ballgame. Dallas by 3. Jimmy Johnson, the only coach with a Super Bowl ring and a national championship ring, and he designed them both.
That's right. Jimmy's Jewelers is next.
Built the team, designed the rings, reaped the benefits, and he said he'll have a future as a jeweler, but that's going to be a few years down the road. Of course, Paul Brown won an NFL championship and a national championship. Wasn't called the Super Bowl then, so we fooled you a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
pretty good company to be in with Paul Brown.
Trivia freaks out there would chime up, but we got them covered.
What a miraculous job he's done. He and Jerry Jones have really put together something here in Dallas in 4 years. Trying to throw out of the end zone, getting out to about the 9-yard line as Garrett completes his pass. You would think that coming from Miami and all the Miami players he has on this ball club, that it would be a nice, comfortable relationship with guys like Williams, but it's not. It's like brothers.
When Kevin Williams got here, Michael Irvin took him aside, and Russell Maryland said, now listen, man, we played for Jimmy. He's going to be a little harder on you because he expects more from the guys that he coached before to be leaders and set examples.
Williams makes the catch across the 20 to about the 23-yard line. Another first down. Dennis Johnson, a free agent rookie, makes the tackle. And Garrett has been on target with his last 2.
I can envision Kevin Williams lining up in a 3-wide set with Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, and Kevin Williams on the inside. See how compact he is? He's 195 pounds. I mean, this is not a small guy. He's 5'9" height-wise, but very powerful.
Looks like he's earning that 3rd receiver spot. Lassick. And the second team, Dallas offensive line, got their signals crossed that time, and Lassick had nowhere to go. Ten minutes, 11 seconds to go in the game. Cowboys leading at 10-7, and the Raiders' only points came on a turnover. Their offense has not scored. You want to talk about great receivers? Fred Biletnikoff.
You know something too, a lot of ex-players aren't good coaches and teachers. He is. He's an excellent teacher and an excellent coach.
Well, he was such a student when he played. Lassick in the flat. Excellent defense by Mike Jones. Just stood his ground and wouldn't let Lassick get away. A flag goes down.
That's something he's going to have to do if he's going to be a part of this offense, because Emmitt Smith had 59 catches last year. Ooh. Offensive in your face. Watch the straight arm. Does a nice job. Squares up. Is not fooled. Can't touch the face mask. There it is. Twice. I wonder, it's like 5 and 5.
Got his money's worth.
I don't know.
They'll move it all the way back to the 10-yard line, where it will be 2nd and 19 for Jason Garrett. And Jimmy Johnson won't be pleased with that. It's becoming pretty obvious, and I think Jimmy will be the first to tell you that without Emmitt Smith, they do not have a running back they feel can help carry the offense of this ball club. Williams out in the flat, out of bounds to 17. And Joe, he's been able to change throughout his career depending on his personnel. But you have to be able to run in this league. He admitted the other day you just can't go to a wide open pass.
And not only that, the philosophy of the Dallas Cowboys is they feature one back. They use the 2 tight ends. Of course, with Alfredo Roberts out, the tight end position again creates a bit of a problem for him. But the offensive coaching staff, Norv Turner, has got to come up now with not necessarily a different scheme, but a way to protect Troy Aikman and make sure that he doesn't have to throw 40 passes a game to be productive.
Beasley comes into the backfield on 3rd and 16. Down the middle to Smith at the 37-yard line, makes the catch. And Brian Addison makes the tackle. There's another flag down, and it will be a hold against the Cowboys. Smith also fighting for that number 3 receiver spot.
Illegal hands on the offense, number 70. Hands to the face. Will penalize half the distance. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
Dale Hellestrae, who is a backup center and the deep snapper, called for that last penalty, and the Cowboys have to march back to their 9.
I mean, if you get your hands up at all, they're going to call him. Watch number 70. See his hands up in the face? Up under the face? Up in the face mask?
Elston Rigel was the offended party. Now it's 3rd and 25 for Jason Garrett. complete, but only out to the 24-yard line to Tim Daniel out of Penn State. And Dennis Johnson was able to make the tackle short of the first down.
That's a couple of nice throws he's made.
Yep.
One was called back because of a penalty, but that was a nice throw, especially when a defense knows you want to put the ball down the field.
Steve Domingos comes in to punt. And Charles Jordan waits inside his 40. Low snap. Domingos, nice job of fielding it on a short hop, but a bad kick. And Jordan can't come up to get it. And it will be down near midfield. A punt of only 27 yards. So we've been saying the value of Emmitt Smith to the Cowboys offense is just immense. His absence created more problems than just the obvious. Big weapon is an understatement, what he's done for this ball club.
Troy Aikman, I've come to watch Troy over the last couple years. Two people are very integral to how he feels comfortable on the field. Jay Novacek as the third down receiver and Emmitt Smith as a third down receiver, as well as a guy getting yards for you on first and second down.
Raiders trying to play catch up now. They're down by 3. Green and Jordan, the running backs behind Evans. Gaston Green runs into Evans. Still get about 3 out of it. Stopped by Bobby Abrams, number 50, and Dixon Edwards, 58.
Jay Novacek, and that's a commodity that they have to protect in these next couple games, because the tight end position of the Dallas Cowboys has been hurt drastically, particularly the blocking side of it. 186 receptions in the last 3 years.
Green. About the 43. I think when the Raiders look at this game, as Gaston Green is in there now, they're going to be very pleased with the work of Nick Bell as the starting running back.
Both Nick Bell and Steve Smith have carried the ball quite a bit in the first half as well. And, you know, you have to remember that Raider offensive line has done a great job, considering that when the Cowboys do substitute so-called second-teamers, they're all starters in their own right because they rotate that defensive line so much.
And they've been doing it all because of injuries with a third-string left tackle. Evans under pressure, and he's sacked by Casillas. Got him from Atlanta in '91. First sack by that Dallas front wall.
You'll see him over the center, number 75. Right over Dan Turk, just does a nice little swim move. Gets Turk's hands, actually does a great job of muscling his way through over Roth, and winds up going through 2 guys to make the play.
Gossett to punt. Williams waits outside his 10. With 6:37 to go in the game. Gossett going for the corner again. Did he make it? Just missed this time. Nearly put it out on the 2 again.
50-yard punt.
A 49-yard punt, but they'll take 20 off on the touchback. Down to the 6.5-minute mark here at Texas Stadium in Irving. 10-7 Dallas. Missed opportunities for both ball clubs. And Dallas has the ball at the 20-yard line. Lassick is in there at tailback with Derek Gaynor, number 39, set off to the wing. And Lassick will get the carry. Slips 1 tackle and moves the pile forward about the 23-yard line.
Sometimes special teams get a little intense, I guess would be the word. Gossett on the kick. Watch the left part of your screen. Bill Bates trying to get in there and rush, and Joe Kelly doesn't like it. There's one push, get the face mask up, give him a shot in the chin. No penalty, but definitely the kind of thing that doesn't go unnoticed by everybody. Joe was brought here because he's brought here to replace Ricky Ellison, and he's got an attitude which is tough.
Complete pass out to the 35-yard line. Judd Garrett from his brother Jason. 13 yards. Elston Rigel has been taken off the field on the cart. He is injured. We'll try to get a report on him. Here's some of the free agents that the Raiders went out and got. The prime one being Hostetler. Lofton from Buffalo, who they feel still may have some mileage left. Gerald Perry, supposed to solve the problem at left tackle. Ken Lanier from Denver. You just saw Joe Kelly, who played with the Jets in Cincinnati. And Rigel, who was just taken off the field on the cart, a defensive end from Cincinnati. Garrett back to throw again. Throwing complete to midfield.
I'll tell you one thing, you would not want to play the Garrett brothers in a game of touch football. Because they really, smile on his face. These guys really work well together. Those were 2 nice passes and 2 excellent catches. All right, Judd, I want you to go out over here. I want you to go out and go by that fire hydrant and hang a left and give me a hook around a Chevy.
Well, if you don't know where your brother's going, you're not going to have a clue with anybody else.
Point.
The brothers from Princeton have accounted for the last 30 yards. Lassick back to the ground game. Had a nice hole there. All the way down to the Raider 41-yard line. Stopped there by Kerry Brabham out of SMU. 74 yards on 22 carries.
He does a real nice job. He seems to get stronger as the game goes on, which is a great indication for a coach. Does a nice job of reading the pack. The obvious hole looks like it's inside, but he senses the traffic coming over. Watch the spin right here. Really lets the defender set himself up and then just spins off him.
And that was Patrick Bates, the #1 draft choice out of Texas A&M, who was still looking for him. Derek Gaynor, the fullback, will get a couple. Let's check in with Chris Berman. Chris?
All right, Michael, not a lot of scoring tonight around the preseason games, but watch this. For the Steelers, Mike Tomczak maybe getting a chance here behind O'Donnell to Tim Worley, looking for a big comeback here. 3 minutes to go at the Meadowlands. The Steelers lead the Giants 20-10.
Boy, Chris, could Worley make a difference if he can come back this year? Quite a talented young man. Clock running here, 3:34 to go in the ball game. Cowboys driving, leading by 3. First down at the Raider 40. Nice play fake. Lassick. First down at the 28-yard line. Jason Garrett looked pretty good. Greg Biekert made the tackle.
Patrick Bates, defensively, told me that the game is different mentally. That's all. He's the first-round pick this year from Texas A&M for the Raiders. He said he wants to do something unique. He wants to be able to cover a guy like Jerry Rice. And I thought to myself, so do a lot of corners in this league. That would be unique.
Got to be a kick for him. He's from Dallas. Jason Garrett so far, 7 out of 8, 77 yards. Beasley now in a tailback. Look at that hole. And Beasley with blinding speed gets outside to the 13-yard line. And now we've got a fight. 1 Raider pinned by 2 Cowboys.
Kevin Gogan, number 66, one of the guys mixing it up in there. I mean, a couple weeks ago in training camp, these 2 teams scrimmaged against one another and had some fisticuffs in that one as well.
That's Ferrick Collins. 2 Cowboys on him. They each had a leg. It's a good thing somebody didn't say make a wish.
Okay, no problem.
Spot the ball at the 12.
Number 66, your left tackle. There he is. He's on the ground. He's got a pancake. It's a pin.
Beasley tried to cut it outside, knocked down by Bates, who made the play that time.
Cowboys have been down in the red area 3 times tonight, come away with very little.
Bates will be given every opportunity to win that safety job. Remember, they cut Ronnie Lott.
Left-hand part of your screen, number 29. The job on the Raider team of the safeties is to force the run. There he is up in front making the play. He's going to be a good one. There's a couple of really good-looking rookies in this game. Kevin Williams is one. Patrick Bates is another.
We've hit the 2-minute warning. Cowboys leading the Raiders 10-7. Dallas having a couple of problems, notably the absence of Emmitt Smith. Who do you like in the NFC?
Well, I guess you could say, who's the boss? The Cowboys, obviously, with their strength coming off of the big record, the defense, and, of course, team speed. Will Emmitt Smith be in, and how healthy can they be are the question marks. The 49ers, their strength, Steve Young, and they have just tremendous skilled weapons. Jerry Rice, John Taylor having a great camp. Their kicking game and secondary is young. Kicking game has always been sort of the suspect part of them. For the Redskins, it's interesting. When you look at strengths, the offensive line's been there, and it's Mark Rippon. The defensive side, or the question marks, is still Mark Rippon. And then, of course, for the Packers, Favre, Sharp, Reggie White, and, of course, a complimentary wide receiver and running game to Sterling Sharp would help.
2nd and 12. Garrett to throw. Flag is down. So is Garrett at the 13-yard line, and it looks like a hold. Greg Biekert, the 7th-round draft choice out of Colorado, made the tackle, and it will come back.
Greg Biekert.
Go back and give you a slower look here at the Saints. There's the 12-4 record last year. The defense has always been their strength. Offensive line, very veteran. Who will play quarterback? Probably going to be Wade Wilson. And they just, as Jim Mora put it, their running game stinks. Coach told me that, and I'm relaying it to you. And that's an area they really have to improve. And I just really like the way Brad Muster looks with white shoes.
Yep.
And, of course, the Packers, we talked about the addition of Reggie White to help the defense. Brett Favre has another year under his belt. Sterling Sharp certainly cannot be the only receiver that they can throw the ball to, and their running game will also help the offense and be more productive.
And they were very aggressive. I thought they and the Cardinals did the best job in the free agent market of getting people to really help them.
Yeah, and they found key people in positions of need that should really bring them anywhere between 2 and 3 more victories.
And they got Mark Clayton to take some of the pressure off Sterling Sharp. Got a timeout with 1:53 to go. The ball spotted back at the 24th. Our presentation of the NFL will continue Thursday the 26th. We'll have the Pittsburgh Steelers, the AFC Central champions, against the NFC Central champion Minnesota Vikings. 8 o'clock Eastern from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will be there. Always nice to go to Minnesota.
Working in the Hubert Humphrey Dome. I like working inside like we're going to be up there Christmas this year, I believe.
That's right.
Be up there for Christmas. Christmas in Minnesota.
2nd and 22 from the 24 after the holding penalty. Lassick back in, and he'll get the carry. Big hole, and Lassick down to the 15-yard line. Mike Jones made the stop. Alfredo Roberts on the left, the blocking tight end, is out with a foot injury. They expect he might miss a lot of the season.
Darrell Johnson on the right with his finger. Darren Woodson with the vest on.
Both of those guys should be back for the Redskins game, which will open the season. Clock stopped again with 1:44 to go. A couple of players, Joe, have mentioned the training camp has been so hard this year under Jimmy Johnson. You wonder, with injuries maybe mounting, how long he can continue at that pace before he's forced to back off.
I think he will continue, at least until you get to your first cut down. I mean, you still have a full complement of rookies and free agents. He's got some of his veterans that are going to have to get some work. I don't see Jimmy Johnson backing off one bit. Ken Norton put it as well as anybody. Most coaches will throw you a bone, give you a morning off, maybe put you out without pads. Jimmy has not done that for his football team yet.
3rd and 13. Lassick. Nice cutback running there inside the 10. 4th time the Cowboys have been inside the 20-yard line. So far, they've come away with 3 points as Lynn Elliott has missed 2 easy field goal tries. Jerked one left, pushed one right.
Fire for effect now. They better fire for effect because it could affect his job. I mean, I can understand, having been a holder, I can understand psychologically how a change in snappers affects him. I was talking to him on the field before the game. He felt that tonight he kicked the ball well because they're all set with the center, the holder, and of course himself, but he has struggled.
Well, you know that Jimmy Johnson is not going to let the kicking game take away his chances of repeating in the Super Bowl, and if Lynn Elliott continues to struggle, you may see another place kicker in camp.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy will not stand pat if there's not production at a position.
Hit from 28. He's missed twice from 32. This will be a 25-yard attempt to make it a 6-point lead. And he's got it through. So Elliott is 2 for 4. And it's 13-7 with 1:34 to go in the game.
Hey, with Jay Novacek holding, very seldom, I think, will he have a problem getting the ball down. Novacek, great hands. Ball's a little low. Gets it, tilts it just the way the kicker likes it. That one he hit square. Yeah, we got one.
I still say that you were the best holder I ever saw.
Thank you.
And it amazes me that some teams don't really pay that much attention to the holder. I mean, they work on it the minimum amount that they have to with a snapper and the holder.
Well, quite often it's difficult because in our case, I was the starting quarterback. And the only time you can really get it done would be after practice. And you have to take the time to do it. But then again, the offensive coaches need you in a meeting after practice to look at the practice. So it becomes really something I think you have to love. It's just like playing any position. It's something you have to really enjoy doing and work on.
Baseball tonight follows our telecast. Chris Myers brings you up to date on the pennant races. And then SportsCenter coming up after that. We'll update you on everything. Down to 1:34 to go in the game. Robinson and Grady are deep to receive the kick. And Dave Thomas, who has made an impression as a rookie here tonight, in on special teams, trying to get one more look from the coach. And Grady can't bring this one in. They'll have to start from the 20-yard line. Art Shell is not going to be happy when he looks at the tape of this game, knowing his offense failed to score at all.
Dave Thomas on the special teams. He realizes this thing's going out of bounds, but he's not stopping. He's just going to hit some. His job is to get down there and hit somebody. What's the sense in running that far if you can't hit somebody?
Works for me. The Raiders have gained only 82 yards in the second half, while Dallas has piled up 221. There's Bill Bates, who's in at a safety spot. Actually in the nickel. Evans too high for Truitt. Kevin Smith on the coverage there. The #1 corner for the Dallas defense. And Truitt is another guy with great speed who transferred from Pitt to Mississippi State.
I think a pass route that would work very well for the Raiders in this situation is, with all the speed, you know that the secondary is going to back up. Some type of a deep hook or some type of a deep end would work a lot better than just trying to throw outs on the perimeter of a defense. Because you know the secondary is going to give them a cushion.
James Jett in the ball game, another blinding sprinter. And Evans will have to run for his life. Flags are down, and it's thrown out of bounds. Too high for Hobbs. And this will be a hold against the Raiders.
Now there's a case in point. Look at the guys that are on the field for the Dallas Cowboys. You got 1 minute and 22 seconds to go in the game. You got Casillas on the field, Tony Tolbert.
Third down.
Oh, you're right. You can tell Jimmy's a little serious about this,
Well,
can't you?
yeah, but this is all he's got. I mean, he's just got starters. Watch Casillas, number 75. Left guard's going to give him a little grab. Hang on and hold on. There he goes, hits the guard, knocks Todd Pete down, and just keeps on going.
But he has his starting secondary in there, too. This one's dumped over the middle. Another flag is down. Montgomery driven out of bounds to the 24-yard line.
This one's going to go against Ken Lanier, number 79. Again, Tony Tolbert putting a lot of pressure on. See, that's where I think the Cowboys have such an advantage. It's you get a flavor for a regular season game here. Late in the game, they've still got these 4 guys fresh and coming off the ball.
I mean, you have Russell Maryland, who did not play tonight because of an injured foot. Jimmy Jones, Chad Hennings, who's really come on, Leon Lett, and Casillas. And then you can bring Jeff Cote in as an extra defensive end, and he led the team in sacks last year.
Tony Tobert's another one. I mean, he had 8.5 sacks. It's interesting. The right side away from Charles Haley was responsible for 19 sacks last year.
He occupied a couple people, didn't he? Evans throwing from the goal line. Nearly picked off, and now it is. Smith with the interception. And Truitt will make the tackle, and I think it was Bill Bates who tipped that ball. I think it was the old man from Tennessee who got the hand up.
You read 2 things when you play defense in the secondary. You read the patterns, but you also read the quarterback. There's Bates. He checks the pattern out. Now he looks back and wants to see where Vince Evans is going to do. You're going this way, so will I. Manages to just tip it up in the air and give Kevin Smith an opportunity to make the pick. Watch this. Up goes the hand. Smith doing a great job of finding the ball.
Tremendous awareness.
He's got his second of the night. You got to have a lot of little kid in you to play this game still.
And you know Bates gets a kick out of playing in the secondary as well as special teams. Beasley and Gaynor, the running backs, with 1:01 left to go in the ballgame. Flag is down as Beasley is stopped at the 42-yard line. What your evaluation? Both ball clubs.
I think both starting units were fairly effective. Obviously, without Emmett and Troy in there, it's hard to evaluate. I thought Hugh Millen did a good job when he was in. I was really impressed with Jeff Hostetler. I think he's going to be a perfect fit for the Raiders. And, you know, you just know in the back of your head there's speed back there. Hugh Millen still has to play. I'm sure he'll play at least a half in the next couple of games, which is going to be very good for the Cowboys. Jeff Hostetler is the man, and all that speed will come up. James Lofton on your right did not play tonight. Just sort of saving him. He knows what it's all about. We talk about 2 All-Pros, Willie Gault, James Lofton.
57 seconds to go in the game. Cowboys just trying to kill the clock. Beasley staying in bounds, brought down at the Raider 36-yard line. Take a look at what the Cowboys will face, probably without Emmitt Smith. They have to open at RFK, probably the toughest place in football to play. Then Buffalo and at Phoenix, and Phoenix is not going to be a soft touch for anybody. Then they get the bye week, and that may be a real break if they can sign Emmitt Smith by then.
I think they have to come out of September with at least 1 win. You know, the worst they can be is 1-2. Now, the Raiders, on the other hand, I think have a much easier schedule. They open with Minnesota at home. They go to Seattle. Now, Rick Meyer's contract has been overturned by the commissioner, so their young quarterback hasn't gotten any work.
Here are the toughest schedules in the league. Philadelphia draws the deuce, 543, the opponent's winning percentage. You see the Raiders at the bottom, the 25th least tough schedule in the NFL. Dallas, you would expect, as defending Super Bowl champions, would have a very difficult schedule, and they do.
Now, Jimmy wouldn't mind having it the other way around.
No. 41 seconds to go in the game. Beasley throws off 1 tackler and gets down to the 34-yard line.
Mike, I've always felt that this is the toughest week in preseason for coaches and players.
Why?
Because it's the middle. I mean, you're looking ahead now to the season a little bit. You're looking ahead to get away from training camp in a week or so. You're going to go home to your family and get settled back into what's considered a normal life, and you start not focusing on the game, but focusing on things outside the game a little bit.
Cowboys will not have to run another play, and they will leave with a home victory, 6 points, and Troy Aikman will get a chance to show his stuff in the next couple of weeks. Jimmy Johnson wins his first preseason game, and Art Shell will have to leave Dallas losing it. Our final score, the Cowboys 13, the Raiders 7. For Joe Theismann and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, and good night from Irving, Texas. Baseball Tonight is next.